All right, Steven, are you ready?
Let's do this.
3, 2, 1.
Wow.
Interesting. That's different. You went some extra miles, man.
Really, really good.
All right, so Steven, let me take you through what I thought on the process of this board. And by the way, guys, this is the first of 3 that we're gonna analyze, redesign today. So originally, this is how the board looked like. And for me, man, it was more like the individual drawings are so good, but the layouting felt
really good.
all over the place. Like look at, well, you obviously looked at it a bunch of times, but the isometric here has so much detail.
Cool.
It was probably done on Rhino or something. Then even the plan is something that it's not ordinary. It should have been placed accordingly to the excellency of the drawing. So what I thought during my process was the bottom renderings, I thought they looked quite nice there. They gave the proper finish to the board, but then it was the middle piece that I pretty much reimagined from the ground up. These sequence diagrams, they were kind of weird how they were before. It was too cluttered, so I made them linear to follow with the same idea of the linear renderings at the bottom, then a linear line of thought here, like a sequence. Made everything more or less the same size, and then gave proper space both to the rendering, to the isometric, isometric, and then plan, so that they both had equal importance on the board. And the stages here, I also made that on a separate column, if you will, so that you can read this more or less as 3 individual columns. This creates this more informational, technical area. And then here on the top, I removed the text that was on the side and made the image bigger, so that I took the entire width, not entire width, almost, because it's not full bleed. But then I added a bit of fog to the sky so that you could actually place the text there. And I also broke down this text into 3 individual columns because this is much more digestible as a text. It allows people to read this with more ease, and they may read a paragraph and then not read the whole thing if they don't want to, but this is more approachable, like not that challenging. And then I made the title bigger. Overall, just maintaining the original theme that it had, the original proportions and organization, but in a sense, just giving a better layouting, a better alignment, if you will. What do you think?
I really liked it. I think exactly what you said. You kept the main elements more or less in the same place. So there's like a main image, plan strip, and then decomposed images, which I thought were really cool, and they weren't as redundant as we have seen in other presentation boards where you see like a ton of renders from different kinds of perspectives. But here we see like a sequence of, from outside, in the middle, and then, entering into the whole pavilion. So I thought that was super, super cool. And in your proposal, I think it's super clear the sizes and hierarchy of everything. Maybe in my taste, I would have...
Yeah, let me know what you would have done differently, man, because we have different styles after all.
Yeah, the blocks of text for the application scheme, for the schemes that we have in the bottom, to me, they just have too much tension, and I think it's more of a task of trying to synthesize that block of text, and maybe not erasing the whole text, but just leaving one very short sentence, you don't see it as heavy visually as you see it right now. Because I think the actual diagrams could be bigger and could explain more the diagram than the actual text. So I see the text is kind of bigger or almost the same size as the diagram. Yep. So I would just make that smaller. But the rest, I really liked it.
I think this also comes down to we were trying to redesign an existing board and not totally redesign the drawings and proportions and everything. As we usually talk about this, board designs, they born along with the drawings itself. It's something that you sketch it out on a piece of paper, and more or less along the process how these things are going to be laid out. So there's margins to be corrected, to be changed along the process. And this, it's not possible. But I totally agree with you, man. I think the text it's leaning towards this side, right? It's a bit more heavy towards this side.
Yeah,
it's
drawing
heavy, your attention. Yeah.
And what I think it was super cool is that you lightened up the text at the front, at the top, by making it white. It's not that heavy, so you
I
kind
tried
of don't
with
actually
the
see
with
it
the black
from afar.
one, but it wasn't.
Yeah, but it doesn't work as much as the white one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, if it weren't for the fog here on the top,
you couldn't see the text. You couldn't read the text.
Yeah, the thing is, the image by itself is phenomenal, but I thought that the background was too detailed for the image itself. Obviously, this is more of an artistic approach. This wouldn't be like this in real life, but this is obviously too dense. But it was only.
No, it works. I think
it works because of the text. It doesn't work without the text.
Yeah, but that you made the text visually lighter and not as heavy to the eye as the one.
Yeah, black
as if
kind
it would
of
be in
works,
black.
but I also agree with you. I think white is just much more lighter.
You know what? A quick short story. I recently participated in a competition, one of those ideas competitions, and one of the main requirements from the judges or the competition in itself was to not have any text, not even small description text, not
images only, drawings only,
slice of text. Only images, which was a very interesting exercise because it made you think of how can that diagram or that image try to explain everything that you need to explain without any text. And I think that maybe it could be a nice exercise for us to do, or for you to do at home with your presentation boards. How can you reduce the dependability on text and not leave it all to text? Because sometimes we just copy our whole paragraphs onto the board. But on the other side, I think sometimes text can visually play a role, like a graphic design role, in making everything be better framed. But I think it's a good exercise if you ask yourself, could this image be explained without text? If I erase the text, would people understand it? And if not, then how could I improve it just so it could speak by itself?
That's interesting. I never thought about that, especially in that way. But let me see your board, man, because I just took a quick look at it, but I want to in-depth see your process.
All right, so this was my proposal. Obviously, it's completely different to yours because when I was looking at the original board, which was this one, I thought this image was too heavy for these drawings. I think it just weighed a lot, and I thought it should be on the bottom. It should sink to the bottom, and of course these should be on top. They're much lighter, and these drawings are so interesting that I thought this main image took some protagonism from it, and of course the text, which we already talked about. So in my proposal, what I did was just leave the same amount of text for the beginning, so it could be red first, which here it would be red second, and leave this exploded diagram, which I thought was the best drawing of the whole board, for it to be red second, to be here you can understand the whole building, you can continue reading the presentation board, but here we have the essence of the building. And of course I pair this up with a floor plan, which I thought was really interesting as well. I didn't see a north on it, and I think if you were to rotate it, this is obviously,
I think it's much easier to read the plan this way, with the entrance towards the bottom.
If you're the type of person because sometimes a lot of people understand the north always being as on top, so sometimes people don't indicate where the north is. But if that were to be the case, then I would just add a little small graphic indication here that the north is towards that side. But I thought this was a better way to understand the floor plan. I think it was just like a classic way. If I saw it from afar, I would think of it as a classic, neoclassical building where the entrance would be from here, and then there would just have this 3 divisions that you have on it. So I thought it was just easier to read, and somehow when you have it rotated, just like it's like right here, it doesn't read as
you're
as
totally
well.
right.
I don't know. It was just my impression, but maybe it's just that I'm not good at reading floor plans. But I thought this was more of a classical sense of how you can read a floor plan. And here in the bottom, I thought the sequence was perfect. I didn't really want to touch it. What I did was maybe add some. No, I didn't actually do anything to it. I think that sequence was perfect, and I just organized this sequence scheme here. And for the floor plan, for the main render, I thought the main render right here, had a lot of colors that kind of distracted the main color. So here in these kind of renders, I really loved how this color was highlighted and how the rest was kind of like in black and white. So I thought that we could do the same with the render. So I kind of like, just place the black and white adjustment layer
with a mask, right?
With a mask. So these other colors of the tree, of the green of the trees, of the background would not distract at all, and I would just highlight this. Obviously, it's a more conceptual approach to creating a render, but it would just, if you see it from afar, it would just leave these two strips of renders, mixing it with these two white strips of floor plan and text. And obviously, it's very, very different from what you proposed, but I think both had different approaches and had better design proposals than the original one, which kind of messy.
What I like about yours is that there's a pace to the board. Like you read the first row first, and then the second, and then the third, and then you digest again. I don't know why I'm using this word, but digest the board as you go, like row by row. And I think the columns on the application scheme with the text, even though it's a lot heavier than the rest of the drawings, especially like the individual axonometrics, it works really well in this horizontal layout. As opposed to mine, it was a bit confusing.
Yeah, I think they're both different proposals, but I really liked I think we had a lot of fun, right, with this presentation board. It kept us thinking. And
so this was the first board that we redesigned, and in this video we're gonna go through two boards that we received from you guys, and both of us gave our take on our approach on this challenge. And by the way, this is a series that we're doing. The first and second episodes were about portfolio reviews. I'm gonna leave a link down in the video description for you to check out. There's a playlist with all of them. Then this is the third episode where we're redesigning competition boards or even university boards. And then the fourth video is going to come out on Thursday on Steven's channel, which is the fourth episode, also about redesigning boards. So all the links will be in the video description. If you want to submit your work, renderings, diagrams, competition boards, portfolio, we're receiving it all, and we might pick yours to redesign or review in future episodes. And the sponsor of this video is actually our courses. Both Upstairs and Show You Better are sponsoring these two episodes. If you want to get better at representation, in general, portfolios, and then diagrams, we have two courses here that it's gonna suit you pretty well. The first one is presentation boards with InDesign from Show You Better. Steven here talks about how to create composition in presentation boards, use negative spaces, and combine images styles, all regarding presentation boards. And if you don't know anything about InDesign either, which is the software that he uses in this course, it goes from the very basics to the more complex. It makes you a full user on InDesign. It also teaches you how to tell stories and covers even some common mistakes that people usually do when it comes to presentation boards. So also links down in the video description for you to check out that course. And on the other hand, we have an isometric diagrams masterclass course here at Upstairs, where I cover 5 different types of diagrams, from the very basic one to the most complex one. It goes from sequence to exploded sections, everything that you need to know when it comes to diagrams. More specifically, isometric ones. It uses Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator. It also uses a rendering engine to generate those clay shadows that makes those diagrams really pop up. Also links in the video description.
And for these 2 episodes, we are releasing a special discount code for both of our courses, where you will get 20% off of each course. So there will be a link down below. Hurry up and don't miss the courses. They're really, really good.
Yeah, this is your chance to improve your skills. So now let's go to the second redesign of a competition board.
Let's do this. Okay, so this was the original presentation board that we received, and my version was this one right here, which I think was completely different. And obviously it was kind of done last minute, so it looks good from far away, but not as good in detail. But so let me just break it down really quick.
But first of all, I wasn't expecting this.
Man.
You said it was bad, but like you completely changed it. Like you were gonna say that I stick with the same essence again, I guess, but you just went all off. Loved it, man. Like from a
Thanks,
first
man.
glance, totally loved it.
Yeah, I think it looks good from far away, but what I tried to do, because in this one it's good. I mean, it has some really good elements, and I think the proposal in itself is interesting, but it some of the images were just not as necessary as I thought when you looked into it. So, for example, all of these renders, I think they could be necessary if someone is looking at it at a second opportunity, at a second glance. But to make that first impact in maybe competition boards, which of course are completely different from boards that you would present in a university or to, for another type of project. In competition boards, sometimes you just need one impactful image. And I think of these images, I liked this render the most. And obviously I liked the sky, the color palette. Yeah. I think it was the one that worked better. And I liked the rest of the drawings, but this block of text just had too much attention. And I kind of erased that, or I took the majority of that text off, because I think one of our jobs as architects has to be to synthesize and to communicate ideas through drawings mainly. So this is not like a book we're writing. This is not like our thesis. So I want to give that message that you can have text. It's not like a sin to have text, but try to synthesize it or leave only the important things. And this was the image where I only left like the concept text, the program, and then the floor plan. I left it on top of this image, and I just divided the board in 4 parts. So these 4 parts.
You even took the surroundings, the context out of the isometric.
Yeah, I took the surroundings because of course, if you see the context, I don't know if this was adding anything to the image. I don't know if these trees actually add any actual value to the image. I think what was most important here was the actual disposition of the volumes, and we already saw in the site plan how this is close to a river, that it's for a certain type of region. So I think it's something that you can understand through the drawings, through these concept drawings. So here I just erased all of this. And again, as I love white space, I just embrace the white space for people to center their eyes onto this Ataberk. And here on top, I'm not too proud of how this turned out. I flipped this facade detail, but I think the text should be way smaller, and maybe this should be done in different ways. But I really liked how this turned out, how these sequence diagrams were on top. But yeah, I mean, that was the proposal. I think it's more a matter of erasing than anything else, of trying to ask yourself, is this really necessary? What images explain the most about my proposal? And that was it. I don't know. That's it.
No, man, I really loved it. Like, it caught me off guard totally. I wasn't expecting, congrats, dude. And it's one of the mistakes that I often see, and I think you as well, is that the text size isn't the same across the boards. Like, sometimes you have something that's way bigger than necessary. For instance, I think on this board especially, you can see multiple, and even the slightly variation, which is sometimes
different. Like this one and this one is completely different, right? And then
it doesn't stand out at first, but then if you take a closer look, you can see that you can have like a title one and then the general text, the general size, but also those subtitles, those really small call outs. Yeah, they can be way smaller. Yeah. So that, and especially if we're talking about digital presentation board, digital competition board, people are going to zoom in, so you got to take that into account.
Yeah, and this is something that we hadn't talked about, right? I mean, the majority of competitions nowadays only require, they are seen through screens, so they have to be optimized for seeing through screens, and sometimes you don't need that vast amount of text or these certain types of sizes, because people can zoom in, which before they didn't have to, but now they can, right?
Yeah. So let me show my board right now. It's really different. You guys are gonna see. I tried to maintain the essence of it. Didn't take anything out. Just cropped one image, and I think it turned out all right. Hopefully you'll like it too.
All right, let's see it.
So this is the before.
Okay. Yes.
And this is the after. It has a lot of information. It's still like really packed, but I think I've managed to really organize this, at least like visually. You have, let me make some lines here. You have this neat division into 4 quadrants. This first one brings the concept diagrams on the sky and even the site plan. And I think in this occasion worked kind of well because it was only line drawing. And then here we have a section that brings the renderings all together on the same space. And I even extended the sky here to give a little bit more space so that this image breathe on its own, I guess. And this one, it was too horizontal. I simply cropped it out. It felt that it was, again, redundant. Maybe I would have taken 1 or 2 of these images out, and as Steven said, erase. It's an exercise of erasing some and showing only the good ones. More technical information this side, and here again, the text. I take special care of the text usually, so I broken this down into multiple columns, added subtitles here that you can clearly see like blocks of text. So if you want to see read about the classrooms, you go straight to the structure and there it is there. So there's no need to treat this as one single piece of text. It's multiple sections that are combined into like this bigger piece. And then I also made the isometric bigger, but I even extended the surroundings, to be honest. This was painted.
Yeah, the opposite.
Like, this was painted with a brush just to like.
Okay, no, but I really liked yours because some presentation boards look dense, but they look interestingly dense. So they look good dense, and this is like a perfect example of this because it has a lot of text, it has a lot of images, but they're just so well organized and have the correct space and like margins around each one, that you can understand and read each one sequentially. So here I know that I can, see the main image, then go to the text, then go to the floor plan diagrams, and then go to the bottom part. And it's very easy to read. So I think it took a lot of good ideas of putting some diagrams on top of the main image and making them like the main diagrams, which would explain like the general gist of the whole composition. And yeah, I think the thing that you did towards the bottom renders of making one seem smaller, one seem bigger, just gave it a nice balance, which would be different if it was just like a 6 image grid, which would look kind of boring.
Yeah, and I think one thing that can work out for you guys is that sometimes you think a plan or a section may not fit in that specific boundary that you have set. And if you're doing this for a competition that has no defined scale, for example, I think from my point of view, I think it's much wiser to add like this, they did it like a graphic scale, so that you can resize it a little bit, so that it's not that perfect 1:100 or 1:200, and maybe it's 1:85 or something. But it does not matter because since it's digital, no one's gonna take a scalemeter. Is that the English word? You know what scale?
Like scale?
It wasn't the translation that I was after, but no one's gonna take the scale on a digital on a screen and measure things up. So a graphic scale is much better approach, and that works for any type of drawing, I guess, section, elevation. But I wouldn't say it works for diagrams like axonometric diagrams. Maybe though it's not the best solution.
But I really like that we both had such different
especially
proposals.
On this one.
They look completely different. Yeah, especially on this one, we had completely different ones, and I think they both work depending on the case and on the project, of course. I mean, we didn't design the project, so we don't know what its strengths are. So this could be, if you're the one that created this, one may work better than the other. But I think both of them still. And also, we don't know if really there were any
prerequisites from the competition, right?
Exactly.
So maybe they were asking for a certain type of layouts that you had to follow, or a certain type of scale. I don't know. But by the way, guys, comment down below which one you think it's better, or because of this, because of that, or if you wouldn't do either way, and both
which one you like the most
at the end, and we would totally have a different approach.
Yeah, for sure. We would love to know your opinion.
Okay, so let's take a look at the third and last example. Let's redesign the third board.
This is probably the hardest one to make, right? Oh, okay.
No,
Oh,
this
that's
is the original one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm impressed by anything at this point. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this board was kind of complicated.
Yeah, it's super complicated.
It took me a bit. I didn't know which way, which path I wanted to follow. So I started to break down this middle piece because it seemed that the top part was kind of resolved by its own. Like there wasn't much change to be done here, from what I understood. The same goes for the bottom. Although this is very cluttered, I think a section here that creates this part with a filled background, it already sets a place for some type of information. So I didn't want to disturb that. Again, I think I tried to keep the essence of it. So this is the original, and here's my approach.
Okay. Yes.
It's minimal. It's not much, but I think. Well, let me explain why. Because look, the original plan, I felt that you repeated so much information. Yeah. You had concept sketches, and then you had initial concept sketches, and then ludic concept model, and then you came to the renderings, and they all showing the same stuff. The little isometric parallel projection diagrams here showed the same stuff again. 2-3 types of plans, and again another rendering, a lot more renderings. It doesn't have much hierarchy when it comes to these smaller information here. You do have a hierarchy when it comes to the main image, and then the section on the bottom, and even this one here. But apart from that, it was all over the place. So my approach was to use these watercolor diagrams here, maybe to tell the story about the concept, about the initial sketches. So maybe you overlay all that information over these 4 isometric diagrams, watercolor diagrams here. You choose what images you want to make it bigger, because the way that it's portrayed here, it doesn't work. For me,
I don't like it.
Totally doesn't work. It's too small. And then here on the bottom, I created another block of text, brought those initial sketches here. But overall, I made this background much, much lighter. I removed a lot of the detail, a lot of the texture that it had, so that it was much cleaner. Yeah. It didn't draw more attention. It wasn't, because the way that it was done here, it was too heavy, for my taste at least.
Yeah, what I really liked about yours is that it still maintained or respected the architect's main idea of placing the render, then the floor plan, but it just organized it much more and eliminated all of the redundancies and made it visually, it made a sequence to the whole story. So I think the hardest part was the bottom part, trying to solve all of those images that they had at the bottom, all those things that they had at the bottom. But you just solved it by just placing the text in a more organized way, and then some concept diagrams which are clear to understand at the bottom. So I think it's really cool. I mean, it was a tough one, but it's a good one.
Yeah, it was really tough. Yeah. If we had more time, maybe I would have done differently. Again, we had 30 minutes on each board. We didn't want to spend that much time because it was part of the exercise, part of the challenge. Just change it however you can with a limited amount of time, so that what strikes the most for us was what we changed. Let me see yours, man. Let me see yours. I'm eager to see.
All right. So this was the original board, and before I show you the board, what I thought I wanted to do best was highlight this drawing, which I thought was really cool. So that was my main task, to highlight this drawing right here. So this was the original board, and this was how it turned out. So this is it's completely different, and I obviously eliminated a ton of stuff,
but necessary to wow, man.
So I thought the image again, as we were talking before, this render was super heavy. I thought it was super heavy, and I just needed it, as you say, I needed to sink to the bottom. And this was a really good drawing. I don't know why it was so small. It was super small. So I thought, why don't we just rotate it and make it a little bit more interesting? I thought I wanted to have it horizontal, but it didn't leave some space at the top. So maybe I could, we could add some text over here, some light text Then we have some concept diagrams, but the main actor right here was the floor plan. Then we have some really like shitty text over here, and then some concept.
Lauren Gibson, he used
then some
those
concept
as well.
diagrams and the watercolor ones, which I thought were really, really cool as well. And at the bottom, I didn't eliminate the section because I thought it was a really cool section as well. But I just paired it with the render. And at the end, we had the render, which when I was looking at it at the end, the colors of the render versus the colors of this top part, didn't match as much. So maybe if I had more time, I would go back and try to adjust these colors to not make them as saturated and not have too much attention. So if we see it in black and white, you can see that maybe it works a little bit better because the color is not as distracting. So I would maybe eliminate the blues or accentuate the blues here, and also accentuate some of the blues here in this water, so you could relate the water to the drawings above, you know?
Yeah, I think it can work either way. Either like bringing the blue to the image or eliminating the blue on the drawing. I think you nailed it, man.
No, they were completely different proposals, and I think you always respect like the architect's main intention, and I always disrespect it completely. So I always erase like all the images, which I also feel bad. but they were both on different versions of how you can design a presentation board. This is like more like a blended image design, and yours is more like geared towards highlighting 3 images, which also works pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think maybe since you already done this in the past, like this is my first time redesigning boards, so I wasn't really sure like which path I wanted to take. Maybe like since you already did the like keeping the essence of it, and now you just wanted to go way off and experiment with the drawings.
You're right. I guess.
Okay, so that was it. 3 redesigns, 3 different competition boards from upstairs perspective and then show you better perspective. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like. As always, we're gonna leave all the links in the video description, all the credits. There's a playlist for you to watch the past episodes and the one that's coming on Thursday on Steven's channel.
And remember, there's a 20% discount for both of our courses, which you can get in the link in the description. So tell us what you thought of this presentation boards, which one you liked best.
And what you want to see next, because we're gonna get working on new episodes and different topics for sure. So thanks for watching. See you the next one.
Bye.